Okay, so this is going to be a discussion about how to make a dice in Scratch. So I've set the challenge in the first video to try and make a dice, and now I'm going to talk through how you can break down the problem to help you solve it. So when we're making a dice, we need to know a few simple things about them. So we know that a dice generally has 6 sides and so has 6 numbers on from 1 to 6 on each face. They land randomly when they're thrown, and obviously we take the one number that's on the upside as the number we're going to use. We now need to apply those things that we know to our program. So using the information that we've got, we can say that a dice has 6 sides with 6 numbers on. So I need 6 pictures to represent the 6 sides of the dice, and that will be in my code, in my programming. They land randomly on a side each time they're thrown. So I need to generate a random number between 1 and 6, so all of the numbers between 1 and 6 each time I roll my dice. So the first one first about the pictures. So dice have 6 sides, so I need a picture to represent each side of the dice. So if you can see on the right hand side here, I've got a list of pictures 1 to 6, and they each have one of the numbers of the dice, and I've done mine in dots, but you could obviously do them in numbers if it was easier to write the number on each side. Now I've done this on one sprite that I have drawn myself, and each of the different numbers is a costume. So we're not making 6 individual sprites, we're making 6 costumes on one sprite, which is called the dice. So for the second bit about random numbers, I need to generate a random number between 1 and 6 when I roll my dice. So I'm going to use that by using the pick random block from the operators. And obviously if we're doing between 1 to 6, I need to say pick random between 1 and 6. So that's a block that you will need in your program. The final thing is to roll the dice, it must be clicked, and the random number must be generated by the program and stored in a variable. So we know that variables store numbers that can change every time the game is run. So when I click this sprite, I will need to generate a random number and set it to set it as the variable for my dice, or put that dice into my variable box, which is the number on the dice that I've rolled. So that might seem a bit confusing, but what I want you to do is go and try the programming now and pause this video, and the next slide will give you a clue as to how your program should look. It's not the final program because there are a few more challenges to add to it. So go and try the programming now, and the next slide is going to show you an example of what the code could look like. So this is the code that you might have so far. So when this sprite is clicked, which is the dice sprite, set number is the variable that I've made, to pick random between 1 and 6, and then I've just used the if function. So if number equals 1, and that's from the operators, the green equals, switch to costume 1, and switch to costume 1 is from the looks blocks, and then I've done the same for number 2, and obviously I hope you can see that the same pattern is followed all the way through to number 6 on the dice.